You don't disappoint a bad bitch. Stupid Games was written and directed by Nicholas Wendell and Danny Abraham, also written by Tanner Adams. Check out their IMDb pages for the full listens of their work. And our tale starts with Jackson and Rex, which sounds like a buddy cop duo trying to stop a dinosaur-led crime syndicate. And as hilarious of a premise as that would be, that is not what this movie is. Jackson and Rex are two dude bros that are absolutely excited, salivating at the chance to partake in a date where they're going to have a home-cooked meal and things are going to go so great. Jackson in particular is 1,000% on board with this because a bit ago, he had a one-night stand with a beautiful, vivacious vixen named Celeste, and things went great. And then she ghosted him. And man, he thought he would never hear from her again. He was absolutely crushed. Even though he could get any other woman, he wanted Celeste. And then Celeste came back into his life, contacting him, and he's absolutely over the goddamn moon and says, Rex, come along. Wait, she says that for this home-cooked meal, well, we need a third. So let's get Cody. They couldn't get Cody because Cody, unfortunately, was too busy being the WWE champion for the biggest wrestling company in the goddamn world. And whoa! And he had to build his kingdom. So he had adrenaline and his soul said, I'm sorry, to this date, I cannot go. Also, his wife would have been very disappointed. So anybody that is not a wrestling fan has no idea what I'm talking about. But that being said, since they couldn't get Cody, they had to find a third. And enter Stanley. Not Stanley the power tool. Stanley the handyman, so he probably has power tools. And he's a bit nerdy, not necessarily off-putting, but, you know, he's kind of the nerd of the group. And he hears them discussing these plans and says, sure, I'll come along. So they end up arriving at this apartment where these three women greet them. And then they drink, they eat, they share secrets, good and very, very raw. And then they play a board game, and then things get absolutely wild and horrifying and spooky. But they gotta keep playing, because horror movie. So, that sounds like a basic premise. Let me tell you one positive about this, though. Well, it's on Tubi. So, it's an ad-based streaming service where you can get movies like this and others. But also, the main positive about this particular production, apparently it was shot in like a week for 10 grand. And in this day and age, that's pretty admirable. So I will say the camera work actually looks pretty professionally well done. They stretched this money pretty well and actually had, you know, some pretty decent production behind it. I'll give them credit for that because it's especially hard to stretch 10 grand in this day and age. So good on them. Good on them right there. It's a one location shoot. You know, even though they were driving at one point and they were in a parking garage, they ended up basically, most of the movie, like the 86-minute runtime, it took place in this particular apartment. Not bad. One location shoots. You can save on money. So that much I'll say as a positive. I could tell that they had at least the genesis of an idea to, you know, try and stretch this thing out and have a slow burn horror. And you had the three guys, two that knew each other, one that didn't. And you had the three ladies, two that really knew each other, and one that was just living on the goddamn couch. And from there, you kind of build this, and when they play the game, they're like on separate teams and stuff like that, and then all this, and then creepy stuff eventually happens. However, I will say that that's about where the positives end, because unfortunately, I found this movie excruciatingly dull. Very, very dull. Even when the horror started. Sorry, didn't click with me. Found it goofy. If it was meant to be a comedy, then I was laughing at it. And again, admirable that they were able to do this on a rumored $10,000 budget. It's good. Good job there. But unfortunately, the movie's just not interesting. And the character arcs are pretty, basic. And any attempt at comedy doesn't really necessarily work. And you're thinking, okay, you got three beautiful women. You got three good-looking guys. You're going to get something out of this. You're going to get slasher tropes. You're going to get something. No, you don't necessarily get that. It just ends up being pretty basic. So it's on Tubi if you want to check it out. I'm going to get into spoilers, though. So 3, 2, 1, and yeah, spoilers. I want to talk about a lot of this stuff. So, basically, Jackson and Rex, from right in the beginning, they basically established that they're both creeps. They're like, oh, well, this guy Cody, it's like somebody would like, ugly chicks or whatever. It's like, it doesn't really matter if somebody else thinks that somebody's ugly, as long as you like them. If you find them attractive and they're good for you and they're a good person deep down, that's what matters. So yeah, basically Stanley ends up joining them. And then you have Celeste, you have Riley, and you have Mia. Riley is not Ace of Spies, unfortunately, and Mia is kind of the castaway of the group, I guess. So this gave me vibes of We Summon the Darkness mixed with Ouija and mixed with a couple other things. The girls, the two main ones, Celeste and Riley, boss Mia around. Mia and Stanley end up kind of having a bit of camaraderie. Celeste obviously made sure, to keep them there, because it's obvious where this movie's going from the very beginning. And unfortunately, it doesn't deviate from that path because it barely moves along that path for most of the movie. So, yeah, the lights go out, even though it's obvious that somebody did something, because, yeah, there's some creepy shit going on. There's a djinn. I keep calling it a djinn because it's funnier. It's D-G or D-J-I-N-N. Study up on them. Don't try to summon one, though. Probably wouldn't work too good for you. So, yeah, they're basically going to play this Quest for Truth minutia game. Cool. It's a Quest for Truth thing. It's like sword and sorcery, D&D, stuff like that. It's basically like truth or dare stuff. And the way you play it is you roll the dice, you land on a spot, you take a card, and there's a challenge, and you have to pick a particular word first, and then you pick letters out of the bag, and then you do that. So it's men versus women, and begin two truths and a lie. We find out that Jackson was adopted by his aunt, and that he kind of puts on this facade because he had alcoholic parents or an alcoholic mother, and the dad left. And there's fuck, marry, kill. This is boring as fuck, is what I noted. Again, I appreciate what they were trying to do, but no, it didn't work. So there was one line during the charades that Rex was doing, because Rex was seen as the idiot. Don't quit your day job to become an actor. That had to be some kind of meta commentary for some reason. I mean, whatever. You all got to start somewhere, but it is what it is. So Jackson apparently thought very little of Cody, but it turns out Celeste actually thought quite a bit of him. And there had been some bumps in the night by this point. The djinn showed up a couple times. Celeste was more into Cody, apparently so much that she slept with him. And yeah, there's been bleeding eyes stuff, like I think Rex had that happen. Maybe Jackson had it. One of them had bleeding eyes, and then Stanley had bleeding eyes. Actually, I think it was Rex. But nevertheless, basically, we're getting some weird stuff, and the djinn is just crawling all over the bed and doing weird things. So, yeah, they're playing this game, and there's this garden thing that they had to pick, for gardening. They had to find something gardening in the house or in the apartment. Instead of plants, they found a gnome, and the girls freak out. So it turns out this gnome's actually what they use in a ritual to take, or to, make the deal with this djinn. So yeah, there's a djinn in the kitchen. I would have liked to have seen a movie about the djinn cooking. That would have been funny. So the letters start moving on their own. Who has the secret? Somebody's been lying. It's the girls. They've been lying. By the way, since the gnome got broken, now the rules got changed. Because the djinn is upset, I guess. And we see the entire ritual play out on the goddamn TV. The girl setting us all up. And yeah, then they put blood on the gnome. Yeah, okay, they can't leave till they finish the game. By the way, there's a solo challenge where you have to guess this ingredient in this particular dish. And it was human flesh. So Rex gets put in the oven. We have 15 minutes left of this movie, by the way, by this point. So, Mia goes in a room, and she gets taken care of because the djinn is in the closet, or, attacking. Yeah, it attacks her. It just doesn't look. At this point, the movie had pretty much beaten the energy and enthusiasm out of me. So, yeah, there needs to be a good lie to win. That's the last one. The Djinn apparently had a bear paw and attacked Riley. That was kind of funny. And then Stanley dies, seemingly. It's down to Celestin Jackson. And kill or be killed. So then they try to kill each other. And then that cuts. And earlier there was this delivery driver that delivered to the girls before all this shit happened. Riley was flirting with him. It would be hard to resist. Let me just say, hard to keep, focused on your job with a beautiful woman like Riley flirting with you. But anyway, nevertheless, the delivery driver shows up again. And Stanley's like, hey, we got this fun game. Come play. He didn't want to. And then the Djinn's in the closet. You want me to try the pizza place? And then it grunts. And that's it. Again, admirable, they managed to make this work for 10 grand, and there were a couple crumbs of things, and I did not hate this, I was just really bored by it, like really, really fucking bored. So, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Check it out, maybe you'll feel differently. I wish nothing but the best for the cast and crew, but it was boring. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland, I'll see you soon.